Hey everybody, this is Darwin Reina, the Festival Director Hospitalario of International Film Festival. Today we have a great filmmaker from the US. She's a female. She's been very bold to make this film. I'm very interested to ask you many questions about this film, which is very normal nowadays. Actually, it's nothing weird. That's what we even see more in Netflix and all these channels. We have June. June, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Darwin.
We love to have your film in our festival. It's a great movie actually. You did it great. June, tell me, where is the idea coming from? And the title is about book, right? If I'm not mistaken. Tell me a little bit about that and why you decide to start with this project.
Yeah, so kind of the project was born out of the quarantine. I've kind of always been on the other side of the camera when it comes to the film world. And this, during the quarantine, my full-time job is a scientist. So this let me have a little time to step away from that and create a piece of cinema that is near and dear to my heart. So kind of when you see the film at the surface level, it's really just a beautiful voyeuristic piece of cinema. Right. It doesn't follow a classical narrative arc. And I think the DP that I worked with, Olmedo, did such an amazing job at framing each shot and then creating an original score that could serve as the driving force to take the place of that classical narrative arc that you would normally see. And then there's so many different layers to the film. I feel like every time I talk about it, I even learn something new about it. And so at the very opening of the film, we do give nod to Magritte's The Treachery of Images, with our title being The Treachery of Love. And so in Magritte's piece, he argues that the representation of an object is not the object itself. So that's kind of the underlying theme of this film, is that what we see when we see depictions of intimate relations in whether it be mainstream film or adult film, you're seeing the act. It's totally stripped of any nuances of the mystique of the actual passion that would come from a historical connection with someone, or maybe the driving force of an experience if it was maybe a first time encounter. And so hopefully maybe a viewer can take from that and maybe explore the utility of sex within their own relationship. And maybe, and so you can see throughout the film, it's solo. And so I think it tells a whole nother story that if in our intimate relationships, if we only focus on our partner and we don't actually bring ourselves and we're honest with ourselves about our own passions and our own desires, it will fall flat. You know, we need that interaction. We need that counterpart to accept our passions and desires, to fulfill them. And so there's a lot of pieces to the film, with it being such a short, 6-minute and 23-second piece. I'm just so happy it's being received so well, because with it being so experimental. I'm very grateful to the film festivals such as yourself.
Right. June, let's go with the pre-production. What do you do in the pre-production to put this project into production? What was the process you did? Do you do much or not really? How would you develop your ideas there with your DP? How was that working before you jump into production?
Yeah, I would say it was quite an I don't want to necessarily say easy process, because it undermines I feel like the talent that went into it. But it was a very fluid process because it was just me and the DP. It was extremely easy. I do not have a long-standing working relationship with him. I've just worked with him on a few pieces. But I can, people, they know what you're thinking. it was easy for us to like just trust each other with each other's ideas. And so pre-production was literally conversations between us.
Right.
We didn't storyboard, there were no sides. It was pretty much thinking about set dressing was important, color schemes, and then also creating, I really let Olmedo run with the framing of the shots. You know, we'd set them together, but when moving into the production part, when we were filming, I never once said, let me see that, or he took the film, he took the footage, then he edited it. And when I received it back, it kind of goes against that saying where they say an artist's work is never finished. They just move on to the next piece. Right. I really felt that this was finished. Wow. I really felt that this was complete. It was as it was. So what you see is the first edit.
Wow, really? Oh my goodness.
Because that's
nice.
his. He's an artist as well. So he brought just as much to the film as I did with his talents and the original score and the editing and the actual cinematography.
Right. So June, do you guys do like a shot list or was something in the spot that you guys decided? How was that?
Yeah, we did have a shot list. It was a very loose shot list, and it was basically about the locations and the general action that was going to take place during that scene. And so it wasn't like formal, it wouldn't be scripted, obviously. There's no words in it. But we definitely had a loose shot list created for the film.
Right. So June, let's talk about you as an actress there. How comfortable were you? You feel, how was that? I mean, this project is very you, right? It's very personal. I can see you love this project. It's really well done. How was for you to be in front of the camera and take us into this trip, because it's interesting you film because you film to keep the audience like looking for the window, and the door, and that was the intention. Very well done on that, guys. How was for you the acting part? Do you feel you were stuck, or you were really in your flow, natural, or there were moments when you were feeling okay? Maybe I should. How was that, Tell? Because we know I don't want to tell much because people have to come and see it in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Right? Don't spoil the film either. But tell me, as an actress perspective, how was that?
For me, it was very freeing. It was very natural. I've never been one to subscribe to society's notion that nudity or sexuality is negative, or I really find that as a hindrance to the progression of our society. And so for me, this film, it was completely natural. I enjoyed making the scenes. There were times where, generally, when we reshot a scene, it was because I was calling it. Well, that was always the case. It was me calling it because I knew I could portray what I wanted better. And so for me, there was no, some people might see it as maybe thinking I was maybe in a vulnerable spot, putting myself in a vulnerable spot, but I really feel it as putting myself in an empowered spot through that vulnerability.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. How about was the working with the camera? Do you? He was guiding you, or not really? Or was everything was you who was the? We know you are the director, but the camera was telling you, okay, let's move a little bit more here, or not really? It was really freely for you. How was that?
Not
process?
Really. Basically, we would talk about the scene, what it was going to be. I come from a stage movement background. And so I would basically block out with him. So this is kind of what I'm going to do. And then he would take a few seconds to kind of figure out where he's going to go with it. shot it, we didn't shoot it on tripod because we wanted to kind of have a little bit of that handheld motion to create a little more tension with the voyeuristic part. But yeah, that's what I would say about that probably.
Right. Let's go to production. I'm very interested in the music. How you guys decide the music? Music is pretty cool, actually. The music was, do you think about that in pre-production, or is something that comes later in the post? How was that?
I honestly cannot take any credit or speak to the music because that was completely Olmedo.
Wow.
When he actually sent the film back to me in the edit, I didn't think it was going to even have a score to it. And it already had the score added, and it was brilliant.
Yes, yes.
I couldn't change anything. The way he changes the momentum and with the scenes, it's perfect. That's all I can, for me, it was complete.
Right. So you telling me that was the first edit and that was the final cut, let's call it like that. So you like it, what you just saw in that master, you really like it. There was nothing you would change in your film. There's nothing you would change for your film, or you really like what is in there? It's a great film.
I really don't think so. I've thought about this. Of course, you know, when you go into the submitting, you always think, is this it? Is this ready? It was. I never questioned it. I feel some might say that's foolish. I do always think, I'm not one to say it's perfect, but any imperfections, I can find reason for them. I can see beauty in everything. I'm an artist that, so I started with film photography. Conceptual film photography is kind of my hobby, and I have a dark room and everything. And everyone always, you know, they're like, why don't you take out fix the grain or take out the scratches? And I'm like, that's part of that experience. That was part of that film's story. Who am I to take that away from it? And so I totally understand in like the narrative and the documentary space that might not apply at all. So this, you know, I'm not trying to make any blanket statements or, you know, this totally applies to this film only. But yeah.
But it's your film, you know, it's your film, and you decide what is going out there, you know, because that's your vision. And yeah, I really like that from filmmakers, actually. June, tell me, what do you think is the most difficult part in filmmaking of the three phases that we have, the pre-production, production, or post? Which one for you think is the difficult one? The hardest, or the more, you know, complicated? Everything in filmmaking is difficult. We both know that. But what do you think is the most difficult part?
I think the most difficult would be the trust that the pre-production concept will be executed through the technical aspects.
Right.
So kind of that jump from pre-production to production is kind of the most nerve-wracking. Because you're constantly, the wheels are constantly turning, you know, you're up at night. How can I make that shot? What can we do there? How, you know, just every little piece of it.
Right. June, let me ask you about your film, back to the Treachery Love. What is the intention that you want the audience have when they watch your film and it's finished? You know, remember that everybody is different. Everybody will have I have my own perspective. This guy got their own perspective. But for you, when you made the film, you know, this is the thing I want them to feel when they watch this film. Can you tell us?
Yeah, I hope that it'll empower conversations between people about sexuality in a positive space and not in, you know, a negative space. And that's kind of the big takeaway from it. To be present and to be responsible for your own sexuality. Right.
That's beautiful, actually. June, are you coming to Barcelona?
I am actually. I dropped off my passport a couple days ago to get it renewed and expedited. So 4 to 6 weeks, I should have that. I'm booking the flights. I actually, for my last trip to Barcelona, I went to the Erotic Museum, and this is a necklace I got at the Erotic Museum of Barcelona. So
Cool.
I am so excited to come back because it's my favorite international city that I've ever visited, and I cannot wait to return.
Nice. We are very happy to have you on board in our festival. You have a great project. Be proud of yourself. You're doing pretty good in festivals, huh? Congratulations.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going pretty well.
Were you expecting this? Oh, not really. Or you were more like a little bit insecure? How was it? Yeah, tell me a little bit about it before I let you go.
About submitting to the festivals?
Yes.
It was my first film to submit, so I had no preconceived notions. I really didn't think I would get any reception from it. So to now, I think it's been selected maybe for 12 festivals. It's received 6 awards now, I believe. And we just started submitting in the end of November.
Wow.
So it's been truly insane. And I'm loving every minute of it. And also it's created an opportunity for collaboration and discussion with other people such as yourself, which is just, it makes me think more. And we've already got, a meeting on Friday to start pre-production on the next short. So
wow, look at that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Look at that, June. Hey,
I mean, motivation. The momentum can't stop, right?
Hey, keep that momentum. Yeah. Listen up. Thank you very much. Like I said, we're very proud to have you in our festival. You're very welcome to Barcelona. You're gonna meet a lot of people and people related also to films like this. We have an LGBTQ. You're gonna love it. All right.
I'm excited.
Looking forward to meet you, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, June.
Thank you, Darwin.
All right, and let's be in touch. You take care,
yes,
okay?
Absolutely.
All right, June.
Bye.